Hi, my name is SRIDHAR Rangayan. I'm the Festival Director of KASHISH Mumbai International Queer Film Festival, which is having its 12th edition right now. And we are the first week of the festival, and you must have already been seeing a lot of LGBTQ films. And today we're going to be in conversation with the fantastic filmmakers and protagonists of the program, Documentary Shorts Competition #1. And to do the honors, we have the filmmaker of Towards Hope, BHARGAV, LAHKAR, and the protagonist, MILIN, who must have already seen in the film. And the film, Nothing But Human, we have the director SWATI JAISWAL and the protagonist, HITEN NOONWAL. So thank you all for joining in from Assam, New Delhi, and Mumbai. So exciting to have this panel, and we hope to have a wonderful conversation about your films. So basically, we're going to be speaking about the films and the protagonists because they are there with us. And so the first question goes to Swati Jaiswal. So Swati, what inspired you to make this particular film? I mean, how did you meet Hiten first of all?
Hiten was my college junior. I was in College of Arts, and he was also in College of Arts. So I saw his work through there, and his work is actually very inspiring. So I wanted to know more about him. So we became friends and we started talking, and that's how I got to know about him. And I was like, his life is very interesting, and not only interesting, it is inspiring for many people. So I wanted to make a film out there. So there's so many people in closet and so many people who are underconfident, who thinks if they come out, what will happen and what will they do with their lives. So I wanted to just inspire people. It's mostly because of that I made this film. And
And
his
is this your
artwork.
first film? Is this your first film?
Yes,
Have
it
you
is.
done any documentary films before? And how did you manage to put the entire film together? How did you manage to find the budget and also the vision to create such a beautiful film?
Actually, I am an editor primarily, and I've been editing for quite some time. So I never directed before, and I felt very comfortable working with him and asking him to do certain things. And his artwork is very inspiring. And the videos which we have used in the film, his dance videos like are the major thought first I had to shoot with him, and the story came along in between. Uh, when we reached there, we thought over many things, and the story came along. So, and I being an editor myself, it was comparatively easy for me to put it together and think over it. That's what the thing is.
Fantastic. So I'm going to come
Yeah.
back to you soon again. Hiten, so when Swati approached you that like she wants to make a film on you, what was your first reaction to it?
I was like, I had a goosebump and I was like, oh my God, are you sure? Because I was like, oh my God, I mean, this is going to be a documentary on my life. Like, till now, I was watching documentaries of other people. And I was like, oh my God, Swati, are you sure? And she was like, yes. And I asked the same thing, like, why do you think that you should make a documentary on me? And then she told me that you are very inspiring. And she thought that, if I am able to bring a change in my life, then I might bring a change to so many other lives. I did not know this, but Swati could see this. And I was like, okay, you can come anytime. You are welcome home. And also, I mean, there had been a lot of interviews, a few interviews, but I did not allow my parents to be a part of it. My parents, bhai, bhabhi. But because I knew Swati for a very long time, and I was like, yes, you can come, and you are also free to talk to my parents and my other family members. It did not happen before because she knew me already. That's why I was like, yes, even if it's very sensitive, it's very fragile, but you can still talk to my parents and you can come. Then we planned.
And
Actually,
what
I
was
want to add something here.
sure.
When I reached to his place, I was welcomed not like a filmmaker or somebody who's doing something in his home. I was welcomed like his friend, and his parents actually fed me all the days I was staying with them. And they were open with me. They could talk to me. There are many things we talked after the camera also. And not many things I wanted to include in the film because they're very sensitive to his parents also. So yeah, so that's how I felt in his home. It was very welcoming, and yeah, his parents are from very old generation, and literally their life has gone in the village. Still, they were very open to talk about it. Not so open in certain ways, but still comparatively progressive. And it was a great experience.
Thank you. I'll come back to both of you with more questions, of course. So, Milind, so when basically Bhargav approached you that he wants to make a film on your life, you are already a big public figure. You've been an outspoken activist for many years now, So what made you agree to giving him a peek into your personal life?
Actually, as you were saying, that we had gone for a 3 days trip to Upper Assam to talk about LGBT awareness in various colleges. And Bhargav was quiet, and he was just helping, and he was not saying anything. And I was not happy with him. I was not happy with him because I think he left his studies and stuff like that. And so I was asking him, what's your plan in life? What do you want to do? You know, because I'm old school, and I like you figure out what you want to do and go for it. You know, I don't care about what people say or whatever, and I somehow expect the same from others. So I scolded him. The 3 days, the third day, I really scolded him. You are wasting your life. Do something. So a week or two later, he come over here and said that he wanted to make a movie on my life. So what do I say? I'm like, okay, gave him his lecture, and yeah, he wants to make a movie on my life, and sure, and that's how it started. I was very happy that he wanted to do something. I was more happy about that than about a movie about my life. Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, how long did the documentary filmmaking take? How many days did you manage to give him? It's a lot of time in your
2 days.
life you need to give him.
I think basically 2 days, not more than that. Actually,
Wow.
2 main days. He asked for 2 days, and then it was perfect timing because my parents are old and I'm the youngest. So I know that time we had limited time. My father passed away last year. After actually the movie got released after that, so I had no clue what my father said. My father died when he was almost turning 94. So he was, and he was, this movie was done around 2018. So he was in 90, right? So when Bhargav said that he wanted to talk to my family, I said that, okay, please go ahead, because with respect to my parents, I never talk about I didn't talk much about my gayness and homosexuality and stuff like that. I am who I am, whatever they learn, they understand, they understand. But my father was a professor in botany. So he understand, though I didn't speak anything much about my, LGBT life, he knew. And he had when we organized the first Queer Pride in Northeast, I was famous for a day or two. And we had gone various, what do you call, TV studio and talk. So one of the picture, he enlarged it and kept in his table. So that was in a way that he agreed, stuff like that. So when Bhargav wanted to talk, I said that please go ahead, but talk without me. Ask whatever you want to ask, but I don't want to know. I'll see in the movie. So I get to see what my father said after he passed.
That's sneaky, I know. But that's a better way because he might not be comfortable saying whatever you wanted to say in front of you. That's right.
Yes, yes.
So what made you make this particular film with Milind Datta? How did you meet him? He just told me a bit, but you started a bit on your own per se.
Okay, so I met him in Digboi. It's a small town in Assam. So one of my friend was organizing a gender sensitization program for the college. So there he told his story, Milin sir. Then again the next day, the same kind of program in another college. Then 2 days continuously, I heard his story. So I thought that his story is with 20 to 25 years back, how he struggled to come to terms with his sexuality or gender identity. Whatever it is, he didn't know about it, such things. He only heard the word gay, and that too, he had to look for the meaning in the dictionary. That time Google was not there. So it really clicked in my mind that I can make a film about him and this could inspire people. So I didn't thought much about while making the film. I didn't thought that it will turn out like this and also get selected in Kashish. But I didn't expect that anything at all while making the film. I just wanted to make the film and tell the story to people and just tell the story. I never imagined that the film would turn out so good. It was beyond my expectations as well.
And are you a trained filmmaker? I mean, what have you studied before? And is this your first film?
It's my first film as a director, but I have worked before as an assistant director in Assamese television serials. So I didn't work much. I had work experience of like 1.5 years, and I had my own personal issues. So there's a lot going on in my life. But this film, the name Towards Hope, it is also giving me hope right now to pursue my dream of becoming a filmmaker. So I'm thinking about like continuing with this profession.
That's good. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a beautiful film. You definitely should pursue filmmaking for sure. So how many days did you spend? Like, I mean, the Milin said like he just spent 2 days with him. But I'm sure you spent a lot of time thinking about the film, making, conceptualizing and editing. How long did you take to make
The shooting didn't took much time. It was like 2 days only, but the editing process took me almost 6 months. There was 10 hours of footage and all clipping it into short clips and putting it out all together. It like took a lot of time. So it was really hard actually. And also to tell the story, like if you saw the film, you can like point out how much work it would have taken to like put it in this way, in chapters, everything, and connecting the bridges also. So it
and how
really took a
difficult
lot
was
of
it
time.
to get some of his older friends, his earlier
Yeah.
time friends on a Zoom conversation? You have them on the Zoom conversation. They speak about Milin when he was back in US at that point of time. So was it easy to get them on the call, or how challenging was it?
No, actually they recorded the video themselves and
Okay.
they sent it by mail. So it was not hard. I actually wrote the questions to them and they answered it. So I was really thankful for them, but they took so much burden to do it on themselves. So it was not that hard, but the editing process was really hard, I must say.
Sure. Milin, just to ask you a bit question, you're already your life stories on the film per se, but maybe some people who might not have watched the film. So I'm just going to kind of ask you to kind of talk in brief about how challenging it was to come out as a trans man, I mean, in those days. I mean, we are talking something like 1990s or early 1990s or late 1990s. How challenging was it to come out as a trans man? I think you identified as something else before and then came out as a trans man. So just if you want to kind of talk a little bit briefly about your life story.
Sure. As Bhargav had said, I studied in Assamese medium school in Assam, and I knew that I was different. I wanted to get out, so I got out from here in '87. I went to Gujarat. There, I saw Hijras for first time in my life, because this whole Hijra Gharana system is not actually original from Assam. I don't think it exists over here that time. Then I saw Martina Navratilova, and they said something about gay and her girlfriend. Then I knew that there's more people like me. And I dated people, but I didn't know about sexuality and anything. It's just the two people in love. So then, fast forward, I chased Martina, because I know that there will be more people like her. So I decided to go to US. So I, finished my studies, went to US and all that. And I had a girlfriend over there, but still it was difficult because I'm very Indian. I was in computer field. All the gishu's and nerds were there. So, I was closeted, stayed there. Then it took almost, I think, maybe 97 or sometime like that. I went to the first gay pride, attended first great pride, and I was very sad by it because half of the people were half naked, and I didn't wanted my Indian friends to think like that, because when you go to US, all the Indians hang out together. I didn't have anybody else but the Indian friends and all this IT, nerd. So when I say I'm gay, they didn't even know gay mean what they didn't know. So it was not easy that time. Anyway, it was hard. I had to go through counseling and all that stuff. But finally, when I had a breakup around 2001, I think that was the hardest point. And when I came out, but I came out as a queer person. I tried to say I was lesbian, but I really hated the word lesbian that time because I didn't know why. Because and now high inside, I know that I did not connect with my body. I did not want to identify as a woman. If I say I'm gay, it was confusing for others. So more of a queer. And then, so I came out as a queer. There's a whole journey, comparative, though I'm like a bush tomboy like that. But when I went to India, my tomboysness still not enough compared to them because I was not qualified as bush over there because I was still like, I didn't talk about my personal sexual life and all that stuff and all that. So all this process, whole thing. Then I had also transphobic. I was a transphobic because, as I said, I saw Hijra first. And for me, transgender means Hijra. That means, you are a prostitute or do begging. And somehow I was not okay. I was ignorant and I was not okay with that. So whenever people ask me if I'm trans, because I was always, 80% I was passed as a man, but I used to, strongly say no. Okay. But then 2019, my sister got cancer, breast cancer. Then I did genealogy test. Then doctor told me that I should have a mastectomy and hysterectomy. So I was very happy to do mastectomy. I was very happy. And then people started asking if I'm transgender. I said no, because I had two issues. Because more than anybody else, I had issue with myself. First, I want to be. India is 1 and 0, right? Male or female,
Correct.
Masa or Masi. In Asmi, it's a Kura or Kuri, Peha or Pehi, Baido or Bhid. So it's so like 0-1. And I always want to be honest with myself. I want my head and my heart to be in sync. So I did not think that saying male I was saying two. So I had a hard time with that. And then second thing is that I have a problem with Western medicine. So I didn't feel like injecting myself to become a man, talk like a man, walk like a man. And there's another thing also that I didn't have time to, US is very superficial, look wise, everything is about look and I really didn't have time for all that. I didn't, I am more motivated to work with the kids, there's poverty issue, there's animal issue, there's so much of issues. So I want to work on those things. So I was not able to, do all that, but it took time. So in 2015, I was planning to retire and come back to India. And that time I went to the doctor to ask, like, I'm going to give up my good insurance. What should I do? And the doctor said that you should do, those students in there, you should do a hysterectomy, but you have to take hormone. And I said that I'm not going to do the mistake God did years ago. He said, no, you can take testosterone. So there was tears in my thing that, that's what I wanted. Like it was easy for me to say that I'm transitioning, by the way, for health reason, not superficial reason. So that was my struggle. And, as soon as doctor said that, I just decided and I just within months. So I actually transitioned in 22.
Wow.
So when I was okay, then
Yeah.
everything was okay. My parents did not have any issue. I was just worried unnecessarily. My parents, specifically my dad did not have.
Yeah,
Wow.
quite a story, totally a story. I mean, like you
Yeah.
can see the film, of course, Towards Hope and know more about Milin's life. Coming to Hiten, so basically, like, I mean, Milin talks about the binary aspect of Indian society, male, female, that's it. They don't look in between. And you are a gender fluid artist, So how do you define yourself? How complicated it is for you to define yourself as gender fluid, as a they, them? And how challenging is your life? I know you've struggled and come and be open about your gender fluid aspect, but how was it difficult when you started identifying yourself as a gender fluid person?
Initially, I thought when I was in school, I thought maybe I'm gay. And then I thought maybe I am trans. And I have also worked, one of the performance that was stuck midway in a wrong body. So that was the title. And I thought I am in the wrong body. And then I went on to College of Art. I was exploring. Then I went to NID. NID gave me this freedom, where I could know that I don't need to be in a particular gender box. I can be non-binary, I can be fluid, I can be queer. And then I thought, I am not gay or I'm not trans. Maybe I am something that we don't know even. And then one of the magazine, Vagabond magazine, they gave me this term, gender fluid, because the various ways how I express myself, I do not try to transform, like drag queens do. They transform their bodies. They also use the like butt pads, and they also use a lot of things. They shave their face. And because of this magazine, I could know this word, that there is this term called gender fluid. That was 2017. And I was like, oh, this sounds better. Like I can connect more myself to with this word, gender fluid and queer. Because it's very free. I mean, if you will say I am a straight person, for me, I'm not saying it to anyone. For me, I was like, oh, this is already a box. You will say you are straight. Then you will say, no, I am gay. And then for me, it was like, so you are in another box now. Maybe I should say I am a queer, or maybe I should say I am fluid. I mean, whichever way I want to express myself, I can. But my parents, they had the problem how I was growing up with this identity. I started the performance when I was in class 6. And then at that time they were like, "Oh, our kid is happy and he is doing all these makeup and dancing." And but real problem started when I was growing up with this identity. And then they were like, "Who will marry you? You are doing makeups. You are wearing all these clothes. लड़कियों के कपड़े पहन रहे." And I was like, "Clothes? Why are you saying that these clothes are girls' clothes? These are clothes. Anyone can wear it. And why do you ask me to cut my hair?" I mean, if we are given hair on our bodies by nature, it means we can grow our hair, we can grow our nails. So do not say that my hair looks like girls and my clothing is girls' clothing. This is my body. I can wear anything. This is my hair. This is my nail. I want to grow or I want to cut it down. So please try to see it more than that. I mean, do not try to make me like my other siblings, my brothers or my cousins, because this is who I am. And they were like, no, you should be normal. And I was like, this is my normal. Which the normal that you talk about, that is your normal. The normal that you keep comparing with my cousins and my brothers, that is their normal. And this is my normal. If you will change me, it would be as if I'm dead. I am a living corpse. I mean, am I really living? If I am not living according to my life, then I try to make them understand there is only one difference in the male and female. A female can carry a baby in the womb. A male cannot. So I see only this difference. Otherwise, we can do anything. Whatever I want with my body, I can do it. Even if I feel that I need to make some changes in my body, I will do it because this is my body. Only I cannot just keep a baby in my womb. I cannot give birth to another human. This is the only change that I see. Otherwise, we can do anything. I know they still need to understand it. My dad could understand it, but my mom, she could not. Very sensitive. My dad could understand because my brother suggested to my dad that he's mentally sick because he's doing all this makeup and dancing. He's sick. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not sick. And then he suggested, my brother, take him to a psychologist and then do a counseling. Then my dad, he took me there. Only my dad, no, not my mom. And then my dad was like, "Iske dimag mein kuch problem hai." And he told me, talk to the doctor, say everything to him, wherever he asked. And then I was like, okay. And he was like, okay, I'm going out. My dad. I was like, no, you have to sit here with us. Wherever we'll talk about, you have to be a part of this. You cannot just go away, you know? And I was like, sit here. And then we all will talk. And then doctor looked at me and he was like, what is your problem? What is the problem? And I was like, there's no problem. I belong to LGBT and my parents cannot accept me. And this is the only problem. And the doctor was very educated. And he looked at my dad and he said, you take him anywhere. I mean, science and even like all these, Baba, Sadhu Baba, they cannot cure it because this is not a disease. you can cure it with the conversation. So, that was the day. And after that, my dad did not say anything. And I'm glad he took me there for my counseling, but the counseling actually happened for him.
Right.
So, so this
Sure.
is what happened. And I'm so glad that he could understand it. Now he knows. The only one thing that they are worried about is they want somebody with me. They think that I cannot take care of myself.
Right.
They think I should have a
Yeah,
wife.
that's the main worry, like what will happen
Yeah.
to you after we pass away? I mean, like who will take
Yes,
care of
yes.
you? Who will be with you? That's the main question.
Ah,
How did you face that, Milind? I mean, was there family pressure to marry? Just like Hiten was saying, his family was worried, like what will happen to my child after we are gone? We are taking care of him right now. Was there a lot of marriage pressure for you? I'm sure you must have been.
Yes,
How did you
yes,
negotiate that?
yes. Luckily, I'm the youngest, and I studied in Surat, RDC Surat. So I was, away from all of them. And there was a guy who, some reason, was very interested in, me. And his parent came to Guwahati. So I let my parents believe what they want to believe. And because before that they were like pressuring me, right? You should come. There's this guy. They came to know that I want to go to US, so they wanted to find some guy from US and all that stuff. And as soon as they came to know about this guy who was my classmate, um, so they were stopped giving me pressure, and I was like, okay, fine. I wanted them to believe whatever they wanted to believe, and so I went to US. And there was a moment where there's so much of in between, broke up from my girlfriend, and I also know that I was very extrovert. I did not want it to be alone. I was very scared of being alone. So around age of 27 or something like that, and still this guy, he came to US, and he was so, sincere, and he's
Mhm.
so called good looking, our class topper, and otherwise everything was good. So he was insisting, and there was a moment, it was very confusing moment for me. There was a moment I was very, I never said I was I was depressed, basically, because I did not know what to do, because I want to be honest with myself. you know I do not think that I will be ever be happy with a guy, because I was never into guys. And then, but if I was, so-called woman, straight woman, he was a perfect guy. He had everything, otherwise I would have liked. And then and then there was so much of pressure. I didn't want to, you know die alone, stay alone. I wanted to have a big family. So all that. So I was almost saying, like, maybe I should get married. Maybe life will be easier. But thankfully, I had this sense, and I know that I cannot just, that will be a lie. Even if I do not cheat, by even if my mind thinks about, wants to be with him, that will be cheating, and I couldn't cheat anybody. So I told him no, and he cried. Poor guy, he cried. But I just like, no, I cannot do that. So it was like, that moment was hard moment. Before that, this confusion and all that, the moment I decided, it's okay if I have to live alone. It is okay. I will live alone, but I will not lie or cheated on anybody else. That moment when I made that decision, after that, life was easy. And it was me I was struggling with. Others, I don't care what they say, but it's my own struggle.
Yeah.
yes.
Actually, the society thinks that happiness comes from somebody else. Happiness can come from oneself. I mean, that's something I don't think anybody understands that. You can be
Yeah,
happy if you're happy yourself. You can
yeah.
spread a lot of happiness if you are happy yourself. So that's usually people expect that like only companionship, partnerships brings you happiness. That's not really true.
And Sridhar, I wanted to put one more thing, is that, I have to take pride in myself. No, I didn't take, that I left when I was 17. And, my father is quite, well known here. He was, joint director in public instruction. So, now we are privileged that way. But I was nobody in, Gujarat. And then I went with $500 and two suitcases in US, and I started from there. You know, I started establish myself in Minneapolis. I really worked hard, and there was a point where I was alone. You know, nobody was there. When I was in Gujarat, my friend can talk about their boyfriend and whatever. Then they broke up. You know, I was there to, you know, listen to them and give them support. But when I broke up, you know, nobody was there because I couldn't share that. You know, I couldn't share all my journey. This whole journey, I did it myself. All the decision, because generally in India, you know, it's a community living, right? You know, people say that whether you wanted to go engineering or medical or whatever you want to study or whom do you meet is like a whole group decision. But for me, all the decision I have to make alone. It was alone decision. You know, so I take pride now that of myself when I was 17 or in 27 or on my way, that I was honest to myself and that I have courage to be, you know, to do things. So now I go back, look through my, you know, old self that, you know, and I also now young generation, quite a lot of young generation transgender, they were like complaining that we want to transition, that they're angry with their parents and blah, blah, blah. Then I basically tell them to study and stand in your own feet. You cannot demand from your parent who must be a teacher or somebody, you know, who may not have enough money for the whole process of transition. It is expensive. You know, you cannot, you know, expect that from your middle class family, you know, so you know, that's what I say from my, you know, it was easy when I stood in my own feet, and my transition was easier because I never asked anybody, you know.
Right.
So that's one thing I want to add.
So thanks a lot for sharing your beautiful thoughts, Milin. Swati, just to come back to you. So, so you made this particular film. I mean, what are your plans to do with this film? You're showing it at film festivals. Kashish is going to be, Kashish is showing the film. Where else you want to take it? How do you want to plan to take this as a movement to sensitize people? You know?
Yeah, basically, my plan is to show it to more people through personal gatherings and LGBTQ gatherings, or maybe where straight people also come, because maybe some straight people might be having LGBTQ kids which they are not accepting. So that will be very awareing for them. And I wanted it to share it with Hitain and his groups, and he keeps going to schools and colleges, and he talks about his journey. So this documentary will itself talk about his journey and help people to students and children, because they are very uh, they can actually come out if they get a little push, and if they get inspired, and coming out early is comparatively easier and make you more strengthful. I feel that. So I feel that's the only way I've been thinking to show in the festivals, and after that only through public gatherings and all in colleges and school, because I don't want to, I cannot sell this film to platforms because I've been using the music of the pop stars in the art design, like two places I have used only, but I am not allowed to sell that music. So either I have to redesign that music, which is very costly way to do it, and I made this film in in favors. Like my camera person is a friend, my sound designer is a friend, and myself edited it and directed it. So this film is made on favors and
Right.
a lot of self work. So that's the thing. So I cannot sell it, but I would like to show it as much as I can. I have tried to connect with actually in Mumbai with the Godrej group as well. Somebody told me that it's a good place to show, but they never responded. I am trying to show it to more people.
Sure. So, if you want to just recollect one moment with Hitain, which you think was the most precious during the entire filming process, what would that moment be? Yeah.
Yeah, we have one. We have a very important moment.
Yes, we have.
Actually, it was around we were finishing in his house, like his interview and his parents' interview. and I knew that I cannot shoot more than this because in the first meeting, his parents or people around will not come out, and they were literally lying in front of the camera, everyone. So I was kind of thinking and a bit upset also about many things. And yeah, I asked him, he suddenly asked me, why are you making this film? Why, like, you are showing this in my life? It doesn't really, like, how much it makes a big difference. There are many stories like this out there. So then I was upset on him also on many things. So yeah, so I started just blabbering out that it's not only like though I do not belong to LGBT community, but I understand the pain in some other way. Like because India female life is very similar to somebody who is not able to understand their gender identity. Is is not much far away to understand the pain of struggling for your identity, for your place in society, to be loved. And me being a dark girl since childhood, and I was more darker in childhood. So I have always felt and underestimated and also insulted by my teachers, by my classmates, by people around me, by my relatives. इसकी शादी कैसे होगी, ये इसको ये लगाओ, उसको वो लगाओ, and all that, which Hiten went through in a different way. Like इसकी शादी कैसे होगी, ये तो लड़की जैसा है, ये ऐसा चलता है, and all similar sort of pain of identity crisis in itself. So I was like, I understand your pain. That is why I want to, though I want, gender is a bigger issue than color. It is an issue, but gender is a bigger issue. And he being an artist and very inspiring artist, I thought ki, okay, this pain can come out in front of people. And if one person can recognize it and help the other person, that will be success for this one.
Fantastic. Really, thank you for sharing your kind of entwining with your personal story. I totally understand. Women also have to fight for their place in society, and that's a struggle, ongoing struggle, as much as the LGBTQ struggle. Bhargav, so coming back to you per se, what has been the journey of this film? Have you been able to take it to festivals? What is your plan for this film in the future?
Actually, I made this film on a very low budget. So I only submitted to the film where the entry was free.
Right.
So it got only selected in only 3 festivals till now, including KASHISH. So I didn't expect anything at all when I made the film. So I'm just planning to take it to schools and colleges in Assam, actually, in the grassroots level, the villages where people don't even know what queer means. What if someone says he's gay, it will be ridiculed. So I want to bring as much awareness I can by showing the film, educating the village people, actually, because LGBT people are everywhere, queer people are everywhere, and if so, the teenage people now, they have the Google, the smartphone, they know about things now. But in villages, there are still some people who don't know. Even if they have a smartphone, they don't know how to utilize it to gain some knowledge about these things. So I want to bring the actually, because in the cities, people mostly know. If they don't want to become sensitive about it, that's their choice. But in village, people don't know. That's the problem. And if someone comes to know it, then they might not feel so alone.
Correct. So, and tell me something like, if you said you had a lot of footage which you couldn't put into this film. So if you have to pick up something which you have not been able to include, what was that particular, some footage which you couldn't make it into the film, what would that be?
Yeah. Actually, the first cut was of 72 minutes.
Wow.
So when I so I showed it to some friends, they said, yeah, it's good, but it became too lengthy for festivals. So if I could, then I would at the 72 minutes for that thing, I would include it. Himini.
Yeah. So what was the portion which you edited out? There must be some beautiful moments out there, right?
Yeah. There are some. Mostly, I miss the thing where Milin sir talks about his love life because uh, in queer
That's the
community,
best part. Why did you put it out in the first
yeah,
film?
no, I included as much as I could, but most some things I was bound to like left it out to connect the bridges, between the chapters. So the thing I liked it most because it's all about love, actually. In every spectrum of queer people like LGBTQ, if people can understand love of one person towards another person, then sexual identity, gender identity, these things doesn't matter. If two, generally people talk that he's having a problem with his girlfriend, she's having a problem with her boyfriend and all. So cis people, they understand. But if a gay person, he says that he's having some relationship issues with his boyfriend, people can't connect with it. So that's why I like the love part most, because I wanted people to connect through love thing, actually.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot for sharing that, and I hope your film goes
Thank
a
you.
long way. Hiten, so what inspires you to basically continue to perform? You have been performing on the streets, in the college campuses, everywhere, and you really make so much of effort to dress up. You find new kind of ways of costuming. Milin, you must see this film. I mean, you must see this film. You must see Hiten. You must look him up. Basically, he's a fabulous artist, and he has sometimes like outlandish costumes. And also his performance is beautiful because he conceptualizes the performance. And now earlier performances were different. Now he's more concentrated on the gender fluidity aspect per se. Earlier he would be dressing up in a completely outlandish costume and do like in a small town, you just go around performing and everybody watching. What is this person doing? But now he's more focused. He's evolved as an artist. So, what kind of performance do you have in mind in the future, Hiten? What do you want to perform, and where do you want to perform? What kind of a
So,
platform do you want to perform in? RuPaul's
first I
Drag
like to
Race.
tell.
RuPaul's Drag Race, is it?
Oh my God, no. So actually, this performance, I have made it my purpose of life because this is how I tell my stories. This is how I express myself. If people say things to me, I do not sit back and go into depression. I stand up. I try to make a new character and I wear it and then I perform. I express myself. So this is I know, I mean, everyone has a purpose. This has become my purpose that wherever I go, I will go as characters. Like I teach at various design colleges. I teach history of costume and so many other subjects. And whenever I go for history of costume, I dress up as Cleopatra in my
Wow.
class, yes. And whenever I go for fashion styling, I dress up as various characters. Then I teach my students. I perform in front of them. I know because what we see, we start believing in it. And if people will say, "Ye kya kar rakha? This is not you. You should be normal." I want to make it as normal as I can. That's why wherever I go, I dress up and I want to make sure that people will say, "Oh, this is common. People do that." So this is my purpose of life. And my future performances that I see, like last year when Delhi Pride happened, I went in white attire, white. And next coming year, I'm going to wear red. And there would be two HITEN, the previous HITEN and this HITEN. And next year, there will be white, red, and orange. And next year, there will be white, red, orange, yellow. And they all will say, "I am HITEN, I am HITEN." So this is what my bigger performance plan is. So I want to make this statement, through the Pride, because Pride is the only thing where you will see a lot of queer people, a lot of media. I want to use that platform and I want to bring, one HITEN, two HITEN, three HITENs, four HITENs, and I will take my friends and my cousins and my nieces. So this is my bigger plan for the performance.
Wow. Best of luck on that. Like really hoping that you'll shine as a big star. Milin, just to wind up the conversation, what is one advice you would give to younger LGBTQ people who are struggling with their identity? What is your one thought which you want to leave with them?
As I said earlier, I would say that first focus in your study. We are a developing country, and first we have to stand in our own feet. Whatever you do, even if you don't study, then figure out what you want to do and focus on that. For example, the way Hiten said that he want to do, fashion, and he, teaches fashion and stuff like that. And he, or they, but I'm not good with they, so I'll
You can say
Hiten,
he,
I will
yes.
use it. And he takes Cleopatra and be in that character. So same thing, I'm going to say that either you study or you figure out what you want to be and put 100% in it. If you put 100%, don't expect the result. The way Bhargav, he did the movie, he did not put on the result. So don't go on thinking about the result. If it comes well, then good. But at least you should be happy that you put 100% of yourself. May it be studies or maybe whatever you want to do. And then, after 21, 22, the rest of the life is there for you, to figure things out. Don't worry, there will be light, at the end of the tunnel. But believe in yourself. Don't listen what other people have.
Wow, that's a really good thought to leave the particular Q&A session with. We can, of course, continue to talk forever, but there's a time limit, so we got to wrap up now. So thank you all for joining in, MILIN Datta and Hiten NOONWAL. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And thank you, Swati and Bhargav, for making these beautiful films, which we hope that is going to travel far after Kashish for sure. There's definitely, these films are to reach out to the grassroots level. So thank you for joining in. And if any of you watching this video on our social media, if you have any questions for Swati, MILIN, Hiten, or Bhargav, please put it in the comment box and I'll make sure they see that and respond to you. And there's still 2 more weeks of Kashish still remaining. So if you have not bought your pass yet, please go to mumbaiqfs.com and you can still buy weekend passes. The 2 weekend passes still pending. So this is the Discovery Weekend. What the first weekend is called Discovery Weekend. The second weekend is Acceptance Weekend, and the third weekend is Pride Weekend. So please book your tickets, ask your family members and colleagues to join this great celebration of LGBTQ cinema to watch 221 films from 53 countries. And thank you. You people are making these films and joining us. Thank you so much for making this happen.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for inviting us.
Thank you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure.